My back ached. My back ached. The river rose. The river rose. He smiled. He smiled. The clouds disappeared. The clouds disappeared. We played. We played. Something fell. Something fell. He agreed. He agreed. Nobody came. Nobody came. He got into the bus. He got into the bus. She got up. She got up. He lay down on the bed. He lay down on the bed. She lives in America. She lives in America. He lay on the ground. He lay on the ground. The fan turned. The fan turned. The clock stopped. The clock stopped. The plane crashed. The plane crashed. The gate opened. The gate opened. The door closed. The door closed. The bus moved. The bus moved. My legs hurt. My legs hurt. The bell rang. The bell rang. The thing moved. The thing moved. He asked. He asked a question. I answered. I answered the question. They watched. They watched the fight. We listened. We listened to the radio. John drank. John drank milk. Pedro ate. Pedro ate food. She forgot. She forgot the bag. I wrote. I wrote a letter. They read. They read the letter. She did the typing. She did the typing. He did the cooking. He did the cooking. They manufactured these tires. They manufactured these tires. We searched the whole place. We searched the whole place. We enjoyed the weekend. We enjoyed the weekend. She made this cake. She made this cake. I closed the windows. I closed the windows. She opened the door. She opened the door. He puts the book in the box. He puts the books in the box. We kept the packet in a corner. We kept the packet in a corner. She placed the plate on the table. She placed the plate on the table. He carried the child on his shoulders. He carried the child on his shoulders. I laid the bedroll on the ground. I laid the bedroll on the ground. They got the man into trouble. They got the man into trouble. He took the box into the room. He took the box into the room. We followed the thief for an hour. We followed the thief for an hour. He picked her up. He picked her up. He picked up that girl. He picked up that girl. He picked that girl up. He picked that girl up. They called him in. They called him in. They called in John. They called in John. They called John in. They called John in. We found out the mistake. We found out the mistake. We found the mistake out. We found the mistake out. I took them out. I took them out. I took out the books. I took out the books. I took the books out. I took the books out. You left them behind. You left them behind. You left behind your competitors. You left behind your competitors. You left your competitors behind. You left your competitors behind. She took them below. She took them below. She took below everybody. She took below everybody. She took everybody below. She took everybody below. He took us in. He took us in. He took in all of us. He took in all of us. He took all of us in. He took all of us in. I noticed the bus coming. I noticed the bus coming. I smelled something burning. I smelled something burning. We saw the man going. We saw the man going. She heard someone shouting. She heard someone shouting. They found the boy waiting. They found the boy waiting. They caught him behind the bushes. They caught him behind the bushes. We watched the man opening the door. We watched the man opening the door. She avoided eating. She avoided eating. We finished writing. We finished writing. Asha practiced swimming. Asha practiced swimming. I dislike traveling by bus. I dislike traveling by bus. Pedro suggested going for a walk. Pedro suggested going for a walk. Anne enjoyed drawing pictures. Anne enjoyed drawing pictures. They began reading. They began reading. I remember meeting you there. I remember meeting you there. I like getting up early. I like getting up early. She stopped reading. She stopped reading. I tried starting the car again. I tried starting the car again. I can't help laughing. I can't help laughing. I don't mind doing it. I don't mind doing it. They wanted me to do it. They wanted me to do it. He persuaded her to take a membership. He persuaded her to take a membership. He meant you to stay there. He meant you to stay there. They pressed me to visit them. They pressed me to visit them. You expected us to bring it. You expected us to bring it. They got you to apologize. They got you to apologize. Nisha wished them to stop it. Nisha wished them to stop it. Anil did not intend you to hurt them. Anil did not intend you to hurt them. They did not advise us to go away. They did not advise us to go away. She waited for him to come. She waited for him to come. I arranged for a mechanic to come. I arranged for a mechanic to come. We longed for everybody to be present. We longed for everybody to be present. I listened to him. I listened to him. They looked at me. They looked at me. We looked after her. We looked after her. I waited for you. I waited for you. She parted with it. She parted with it. I longed for her friendship. I longed for her friendship. The water tasted of kerosene. The water tasted of kerosene. Biju agreed to come. Biju agreed to come. Mary decided to stay behind. Mary decided to stay behind. He failed to do it. He failed to do it. They wanted to go. They wanted to go. I can't bear to see people behaving like this. I can't bear to see people behaving like this. Everybody began to sing. Everybody began to sing. They continued to argue. They continued to argue. I prefer to go by train. I prefer to go by train. Some of them tried to knock down the wall. Some of them tried to knock down the wall. She forgot to switch it off. She forgot to switch it off. He remembered to send her a card. He remembered to send her a card. He promised me a present. He promised me a present. He promised a present to me. He promised a present to me. She read him a story. She read him a story. She read a story to him. She read a story to him. I bought them a packet. I bought them a packet. I bought a packet to them. I bought a packet to them. You sent him a letter. You sent him a letter. You sent a letter to him. You sent a letter to him. We told them the truth. We told them the truth. We told the truth to them. We told the truth to them. They owed me some money. They owed me some money. They owed some money to me. They owed some money to me. He gave me a pen. He gave me a pen. He gave a pen to me. He gave a pen to me. They offered her a job. They offered her a job. They offered a job to her. They offered a job to her. She fetched him some water. She fetched him some water. She fetched some water to him. She fetched some water to him. He handed me a check. He handed me a check. He handed a check to me. He handed a check to me. They taught him a lesson. They taught him a lesson. They taught a lesson to him. They taught a lesson to him. They granted him permission. They granted him permission. They granted permission to him. They granted permission to him. He passed her the salt. He passed her the salt. He passed the salt to her. He passed the salt to her. He threw her the ball. He threw her the ball. He threw the ball to her. He threw the ball to her. I wrote him a note. I wrote him a note. I wrote a note to him. I wrote a note to him. They sold him their car. They sold him their car. They sold their car to him. They sold their car to him. He showed me a photograph. He showed me a photograph. He showed a photograph to me. He showed a photograph to me. They called him a car. They called him a car. They called a car for him. They called a car for him. I booked her a ticket. I booked her a ticket. I booked a ticket for her. I booked a ticket for her. He bought them a TV. He bought them a TV. He bought a TV for them. He bought a TV for them. He built her a house. He built her a house. He built a house for her. He built a house for her. I changed him a 5 rupee note. I changed him a 5 rupee note. I changed a 5 rupee note for him. I changed a 5 rupee note for him. They saved me some money. They saved me some money. They saved some money for me. They saved some money for me. He reserved her a seat. He reserved her a seat. He reserved a seat for her. He reserved a seat for her. You spared me some trouble. You spared me some trouble. You spared some trouble for me. You spared some trouble for me. I found them a typist. I found them a typist. I found a typist for them. I found a typist for them. I ordered him a large breakfast. I ordered him a large breakfast. I ordered a large breakfast for him. I ordered a large breakfast for him. We choose him a book. We choose him a book. We choose a book for him. We choose a book for him. He described his journey to me. He described his journey to me. We put the question to her. We put the question to her. I suggested the plan to him. I suggested the plan to him. She mentioned it to us. She mentioned it to us. He confessed his guilt to me. He confessed his guilt to me. They explained the whole thing to you. They explained the whole thing to you. He admitted everything to me. He admitted everything to me. You said it to her. You said it to her. They made me treasurer. They made me treasurer. You named me chairman. You named me chairman. They appointed him auditor. They appointed him auditor. We declared him our representative. We declared him our representative. They voted him secretary. They voted him secretary. She named her son Ravi. She named her son Ravi. They made him manager. They made him manager. You called him Ahmed. You called him Ahmed. We nominated you president. We nominated you president. We wanted to appoint you secretary. They wanted to appoint you secretary. They looked on him as an authority. They looked on him as an authority. We took him as a clerk. We took him as a clerk. He treated her as a sister. He treated her as a sister. We regarded him as an expert. We regarded him as an expert. They used it as a lever. They used it as a lever. They regarded us guilty. They regarded us as guilty. They regarded us as guilty. I counted him as dependable. I counted him as dependable. You described him as innocent. You described him as innocent. I considered him as honest. I considered him as honest. She classed them as separate. She classed them as separate. They drove her mad. They drove her mad. He dyed his hair brown. He dyed his hair brown. He ate the cutlet hot. He ate the cutlet hot. They proved me wrong. They proved me wrong. She wiped the vessels clean. She wiped the vessels clean. He painted his car blue. He painted his car blue. She kept her room tidy. She kept her room tidy. I wanted to make my intentions clear. I wanted to make my intentions clear. He is a mechanic. He is a mechanic. She was their manager. She was their manager. That is a mystery. That is a mystery. That was a mistake. That was a mistake. They are politicians. They are politicians. We were their partners. We were their partners. He sounded the horn. He sounded the horn. He's like his father. He's like his father. She looked like her mother. She looked like her mother. She became a doctor. She became a doctor. He became chairman. He became chairman. She turned her face back to me. She turned her face back to me. He got his promotion. He got his promotion. She's kind. She's kind. The rice was bad. The rice was bad. The milk is sour. The milk is sour. She is clever. She is clever. They are angry. They are angry. He was pale. He was pale. She was sick. She was sick. I am hungry. I am hungry. It was dark. It was dark. We are tired. We are tired. That is awful. That is awful. The seat was soft. The seat was soft. The bread is brown. The bread is brown. He turned pale. He turned pale. She appeared sick. She appeared sick. He looked sick. He looked sick. They sounded angry. They sounded angry. We got tired. We got tired. The bread became brown. The bread became brown. He fell sick. He fell sick. The milk turned sour. The milk turned sour. The milk tasted sour. The milk tasted sour. The milk smelled sour. The milk smelled sour. It became dark. It became dark. The rice smelled bad. The rice smelled bad. She seems clever. She seems clever. This thing feels hard. This thing feels hard. I feel angry. I feel angry. I feel hungry. I feel hungry. It's here. It's here. The bus is at 3:30. The bus is at 3:30. It is under the table. It is under the table. The house is behind the shop. The house is behind the shop. It is on the top. It is on the top. The college is in front of the garden. The college is in front of the garden. It is at the bottom. It is at the bottom. The ground was near the house. The ground was near the house. It is at 4 o'clock. It is at 4 o'clock. The market was outside the village. The market was outside the village. The show is at midnight. The show is at midnight. His birthday is in June. His birthday is in June. The meeting is in the evening. The meeting is in the evening. His seat was at the back. His seat was at the back. Her seat was in the front. Her seat was in the front. I doubt if she can do it. I doubt if she can do it. I forgot if he had picked it up. I forgot if he had picked it up. She asked if I'd seen it. She asked if I'd seen it. They didn't know if you had gone. They didn't know if you had gone. We wondered if you would come. We wondered if you would come. She will find out if it's true. She will find out if it's true. He inquired if there was a vacancy. He inquired if there was a vacancy. I can't remember if I've seen him. I can't remember if I've seen him. He wanted to know if I counted on his support. He wanted to know if I counted on his support. You must tell me if you are going. You must tell me if you are going. Please remind me if I forget it. Please remind me if I forget it. You must inform them if they are late. You must inform them if they are late. He asked me if I was born in Bombay. He asked me if I was born in Bombay. She asked me if I was tired of waiting. She asked me if I was tired of waiting. They asked him if he wore dark glasses. They asked him if he wore dark glasses. They inquired where she was. They inquired where she was. I found out when he came. I found out when he came. She asked why you did it. She asked why you did it. You forgot what he called you. You forgot what he called you. He didn't know which one they wanted. He didn't know which one they wanted. We wonder who did it. We wonder who did it. I can't remember how I did it. I can't remember how I did it. I took him for his twin brother. I took him for his twin brother. I took her for a fool. I took her for a fool. They mistook me for their son. They mistook me for their son. I felt I must apologize. I felt I must apologize. She said he was right. She said he was right. I hear they have selected you. I hear they have selected you. I wish she wouldn't interfere. I wished she wouldn't interfere. I thought you would like to come. I thought you would like to come. She expected you could be there. She expected you could be there. You believed she recognized your voice. You believed she recognized your voice. You hoped that they wouldn't check it. You hoped that they wouldn't check it. We decided will not interrupt. We decided will not interrupt. She suggested we must consult a lawyer. She suggested we must consult a lawyer. They told me it was not right. They told me it was not right. He convinced me they were wrong. He convinced me they were wrong. We assured them we could do it. We assured them we could do it. She reminded me that I had not phoned them. She reminded me I had not phoned them. They informed us they are coming. They informed us they are coming. You satisfied me I could depend on you. You satisfied me I could depend on you. I thought he was honest. I thought he was honest. I thought he was an honest person. I thought he was an honest person. We considered it was important. We considered it was important. We considered it was an important thing. We considered it was an important thing. She felt his decision was wrong. She felt his decision was wrong. She felt his decision was a wrong one. She felt his decision was a wrong one. They reported you were very efficient. They reported you were very efficient. They reported you were a very efficient person. They reported you were a very efficient person. He presumed it was right. He presumed it was right. He presumed it was the right answer. He presumed it was the right answer. I found he was honest. I found he was a dishonest. I found he was a dishonest person. I found he was a dishonest person. I believed it was true. I believed it was true. I believed it was the truth. I believed it was the truth. She knew he was guilty. She knew he was guilty. She knew he was the guilty person. She knew he was the guilty person. You guessed she was clever. You guessed she was clever. You guessed she was a clever girl. You guessed she was a clever girl. You supposed it was new. You supposed it was new. You supposed it was a new one. You supposed it was a new one. He tore his shirt. He tore his shirt. He did his best. He did his best. She hurt her head. She hurt her head. He cut his finger. He cut his finger. We lost our way. We lost our way. She broke her leg. She broke her leg. I had my teeth out. I had my teeth out. I combed my hair. I combed my hair. The cloth is 20 rupees a meter. The cloth is 20 rupees a meter. These tickets are 2 rupees each. These tickets are 2 rupees each. Milk is 2 rupees a liter. Milk is 2 rupees a liter. Oranges are 6 rupees a dozen. Oranges are 6 rupees a dozen. Potatoes are 5 rupees a kilo. Potatoes are 5 rupees a kilo. She comes here once a week. She comes here once a week. The postman comes 2 times a day. The postman comes 2 times a day. Rice is sold by the kilo. Rice is sold by the kilo. Clothes is sold by the meter. Clothes is sold by the meters. Eggs are sold by the dozen. Eggs are sold by the dozen. He hadn't a penny to spare. He hadn't a penny to spare. They hadn't a thing to eat. They hadn't a thing to eat. We hadn't a book to read. We hadn't a book to read. He hasn't an enemy in the world. He hasn't an enemy in the world. I haven't any time to waste. I haven't any time to waste. He hasn't a moment to spare. He hasn't a moment to spare. He caught me by the arm. He caught me by the arm. I caught him by the hair. I caught him by the hair. He hit her in the head. He hit her in the head. She kicked him in the stomach. She kicked him in the stomach. They shot him in the head. They shot him in the head. He shot me in the leg. He shot me in the leg. She slapped him on the face. She slapped him on the face. He patted me on the back. He patted me on the back. They will phone you any minute now. They will phone you any minute now. We can start any day now. We can start any day now. They will come here any moment now. They will come here any moment now. You can go there any minute now. You can go there any minute now. You can go there any minute now. You can go there anytime now. It isn't any problem. It isn't any problem. It isn't any use. It isn't any use. It isn't any trouble. It isn't any trouble. It isn't any fun. It isn't any fun. It isn't any pleasure. It isn't any pleasure. You aren't any fatter. You aren't any fatter. He isn't any thinner. He isn't any thinner. She isn't any better. She isn't any better. They aren't any worse. They aren't any worse. It isn't any bigger. It isn't any bigger. It took her 2 hours to get dressed. It took her 2 hours to get dressed. It took me a whole day to complete it. It took me a whole day to complete it. It took him a long time to come to a decision. It took him a long time to come to a decision. It took them an hour to repair it. It took them an hour to repair it. He doesn't look any different. He doesn't look any different. She didn't feel any different. She didn't feel any different. They don't seem any different. They don't seem any different. It doesn't taste any different. It doesn't taste any different. It doesn't sound any different. It doesn't sound any different. It doesn't appear any different. It doesn't appear any different. There is no such person. There is no such person. There is no such place. There is no such place. There is no such thing. There is no such thing. I have no such plans. I have no such plans. He has no such ideas. He has no such ideas. Our clothes are the same color. Our clothes are the same color. We are the same age. We are the same age. Bose and Ashok are the same height. Bose and Ashok are the same height. Our feet are the same size. Our feet are the same size. These rooms are the same length and width. These rooms are the same length and width. These bottles are the same shape. These bottles are the same shape. He is good at basketball. He is good at basketball. She is clever at housekeeping. She is clever at housekeeping. I was convinced of his innocence. I was convinced of his innocence. They are disappointed with the result. They are disappointed with the result. I am annoyed at her behavior. I am annoyed at her behavior. They are difficult to please. They are difficult to please. It's difficult to please them. It's difficult to please them. You are hard to convince. You are hard to convince. It is hard to convince you. It is hard to convince you. We are sorry to hear about it. We are sorry to hear about it. It made us sorry to hear about it. It made us sorry to hear about it. I'm surprised to find them there. I'm surprised to find them there. It surprised me to find them there. It surprised me to find them there. She was quick to turn back and run. She was quick to turn back and run. She turned back and ran quickly. She turned back and ran quickly. He is willing to work with you. He is willing to work with you. He will willingly work with you. He will willingly work with you. You were wrong to report him to the police. You were wrong to report him to the police. It was wrong of you to report him to the police. It was wrong of you to report him to the police. They were silly to behave like that. They were silly to behave like that. It was silly of them to behave like that. It was silly of them to behave like that. He is anxious to know the result. He is anxious to know the result. He was unable to find where it was. He was unable to find where it was. I'm certain our team will win. I'm certain our team will win. They were confident they would get the contract. They were confident they would get the contract. She was glad you phoned them. She was glad you phoned them. He's sure he'll pass the exam. He's sure he'll pass the exam. We are proud you can do it. We are proud you can do it. It is fortunate he is here. It is fortunate he is here. It is surprising he didn't come here. It is surprising he didn't come here. It is odd she hasn't sent us a letter yet. It is odd he hasn't sent us a letter yet. It is true he's past 50. It is true he's past 50. It is possible they were waiting for a reply. It is possible they were waiting for a reply. She's 40, but she doesn't look it. She is 40, but she doesn't look it. It is very expensive, but it doesn't look it. It is very expensive, but it doesn't look it. I should be thrilled, but I don't feel it. I should be thrilled, but I don't feel it. You should be angry, but you don't look it. You should be angry, but you don't look it. He is very rich, but he doesn't look it. He is very rich, but he doesn't look it. They were very poor, but they didn't feel it. They were very poor, but they didn't feel it. It is the right size, but it doesn't feel it. It is the right size, but it doesn't feel it. It's time we bought a new one. It's time we bought a new one. It's time he wore glasses. It's time he wore glasses. It's time they repaired the road. It's time they repaired the road. It's time you learned it. It's time you learned it. It's time we paid the bill. It's time we paid the bill. It's time she started. It's time she started. It's years since I saw him. It's years since I saw him. I haven't seen him for years. I haven't seen him for years. It's long time since she worked It's long time since she worked late. It's a long time since she worked late. She hasn't worked late for a long time. She hasn't worked late for a long time. It's days since we met. It's days since we met. We haven't met for days. We haven't met for days. It's 3 months since I came here. It's 3 months since I came here. I haven't come here for 3 months. I haven't come here for 3 months. It's month since it rained. It's months since it rained. It hasn't rained for months. It hasn't rained for months. It's hours since he phoned. It's hours since he phoned. He hasn't phoned for hours. He hasn't phoned for hours. It's couple of days since he shaved. It's couple of days since he shaved. He hasn't shaved for a couple of days. He hasn't shaved for a couple of days. He began reading at 2:15. He began reading at 2:15. He has been reading since 2:15. He has been reading since 2:15. He has been reading for 2 hours now. He has been reading for 2 hours now. It began raining on Friday. It began raining on Friday. It has been raining since Friday. It has been raining since Friday. It has been raining for 2 days now. It has been raining for 2 days now. She started going to school at the beginning of this year. She started going to school at the beginning of this year. She has been going to school since the beginning this year. She has been going to the school since the beginning of this year. She has been going to school for a year now. She has been going to school for a year now. They started painting the house last week. They started painting the house. They started painting the house last week. They have been painting the house since last week. They have been painting the house since last week. They have been painting the house for 2 weeks now. They have been painting the house for 2 weeks now. The exhibition began in July. The exhibition began in July. The exhibition has been going on since July. The exhibition has been going on since July. The exhibition has been going on for 3 months now. The exhibition has been going on for 3 months now. He has no clothes to wear. He has no clothes to wear. They had no food to eat. They had no food to eat. He had no money to spend. He had no money to spend. She had no work to do. She had no work to do. We had no water to drink. We had no water to drink. I have some clothes to wash. I have some clothes to wash. We have few questions to answer. We have few questions to answer. They have few calls to make. They have few calls to make. She has some work to do. She has some work to do. We have some things to do. We have some things to do. I live there by myself. I live there by myself. She finished it by herself. She finished it by herself. He used to go to school by himself. He used to go to school by himself. They painted the car by themselves. They painted the car by themselves. She traveled by herself. She traveled by herself. She traveled by herself. The fan started turning by itself. The fan started turning by itself. He is not such a bad fellow as you think. He is not such a bad fellow as you think. He is not so bad as you think. He is not so bad as you think. She is not such a clever girl as you think. She is not such a clever girl as you think. She is not so clever as you think. She is not so clever as you think. You are not such a cooperative person as I imagined. You are not such a cooperative person as I imagined. You are not so cooperative as I imagined. You are not so cooperative as I imagined. That is not such an interesting book as you said. That is not such an interesting book as you said. That book is not so interesting as you said. That book is not so